This is why religion is turned into this fairy tale type thing where, in some aspects, there are some righteous religious people, and I respect the hell out of them. But, for the most part, it's turned into what it's turned into. Because a lot of people are not really looking for the truth. They're just taking what was told to them as face value fact instead of processing in their minds how an event like this would actually happen. Okay, so think of it this way, right? The Last Supper. He's arrested after the supper because he went to a garden to pray. Judas had turned him in. Jewish court wanted him because he said he was the Son of God. He said he was God. God in a man body. And that was blasphemy. The Jewish court wanted to try him, and the Roman court wanted to try him because if you are a God in human form, that is a threat to power. They sentenced him to death. Judas, he snitched so he could get out of going to jail time and stuff like that. Because I think all the rest of the prophets or the disciples, they eventually got arrested. And this is why I be saying, like, yo, if Jesus was alive today, he would be a gang member. Because I see this story replayed so many times. Like, he was even born Jewish. But he didn't like how they was rocking. They wasn't letting humans evolve and grow. They're keeping them stuck on the old, right? So then he said, no, we got to do it this way. And that's when he started Christianity. Like, yo, man, you're using this old doctrine for new people. We are not these same people. We need to update it. That isn't a situation we are today, but I digress. That's another story for another day. Right? So, Judas, Judas, he tell on him, he snitched. So he don't have to go to jail. And they end up killing this man. They killing this man. They knew he was innocent, and everybody sitting there standing around watching, right? After he gets sentenced to death, they just watching. And it gets, remember, he got killed by the Jewish faith in the Roman courts, right? Which was the government top of power, right? Of course, they're going to say, oh, he died for our sins. Look at Martin Luther King. He got assassinated, and we gave him a holiday. It's Martin Luther King Day. Boy, y'all killed this motherfucker for trying to bring people together. Jesus was trying to bring people together. And he's standing on it, empowering the individual. And we've seen in today's time what happens, how the governments can react when you try to empower the individual. They don't necessarily like that, do they? Okay, so let's play it back, right? Before they have the supper, he come into Jerusalem flipping these tables and like raising hell and driving all these merchants out. Why? Because they try to make his place of holiness. They had brought in like prostitutes, and there was gambling and doing all type of stuff. You feel me? Like, I would have been mad too. Why? Because they try to make his place of holiness. They had brought in like prostitutes, and there was gambling and doing all type of, like, I would have been mad too. Like, I got a spot like right here, right back there, my little spot. You don't go over there doing no BS in here. You feel me? Like, that's my holy area. You feel me? That is sacred to me. That was sacred to him. You gonna drive him to, come in there raising hell. So then a couple of days after that, that's when they needed some charges on him. That's when they went and hollered at Judas, right? And basically set him up, But he really just a real one, bro. He a real nigga. Like, at the end of the day, like, I don't know what else you want me to say. Because that's what he is. That's what he represents. And some people will say, oh, the Bible's not real, it's not all this other. I'm like, listen, bro. Whether it is or not is irrelevant. That story is motherfucking impactful, especially in today's time when we see everything going on with what we're seeing, right? I'm not even gonna get into that because that's not even the topic of discussion right now. But one man stood up against the whole government system by himself and said, nah, I ain't rocking with this. Nobody came up there and been like, hey, bro, like, I'm with him. Like, this ain't right. Nobody. They smoked him. They killed him. And since they was the government, they could say, hey, he died for our sins. Yeah, he died for y'all sins because y'all the ones sinning and killing him. It's a very impactful story about like when one person stands up against a tyrannical power like that, how tyrannical powers unchecked can turn into these crazy things. Why us as the individual needs to be able to, one, honor thy neighbor, you know what I'm saying, da-da-da-da-da. That way we can stand up to a government system if we need to, if the situation arises. He is the blueprint of how to become a godlike figure on earth. Somebody who can rally people together and stand up against a whole force as a government institution in the face of death. And people get mad at me because I don't worship Jesus. You feel me? Like, I don't sit there and pray to Jesus. Like, I talk to Jesus like he's bro. Because he's bro. I talk to him. You know, and we'll have conversations. But to just sit there and pray to him, I thought I'm supposed to pray to the Father. I thought I'm supposed to pray to the big God. You feel me? Like, so which one do I pray to? You can't serve two masters. Right? And even saying there, don't pray to me, pray to the Father. But some people, they're not going to notice the difference. They're not ever going to come to that level, so they got to pray. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to, make anybody disbelievers. Like, the believers that do see this, I want you to challenge your own faith and beliefs by how well you really understand it. Like, take what you know and how things really work. How would this really happen? You see the passage about him flipping these tables. He ain't turned the cheek the other. This is how they portrayed him. This is how they portrayed him to make him look docile. So they don't have another person like that. I can't stress that enough. Because every time they get a emmatic figure like that standing alone against a government nation, MLK, Malcolm X, even John F. Kennedy, you want to use him as an example, Tupac, doesn't matter. And maybe there's ulterior motives that happened that got these people killed and whatever. But it's just kind of ironic. And then it's even more ironic that the people that they're standing up for are so cowardice as to not even speak up when he is faced with death. To be like, hey man, this ain't right. When they outnumber the government systems. It's because they want to be led. That's fine. If you don't want to make decisions for yourself, that is fine. But at least make the conscious decision of who you deem to make these decisions for you. Don't just put all of your faith into the government. And that is what he represented.